Hey, this is Joe from 718 Cyclery and Outdoors here in Brooklyn, and also from Bike Touring Tips. Today what we're going to do is go over a list of 16 tips that I've come up with for going on a micro tour. Micro tours are also known as sub 24s, micro adventures, things like that. Things where you're leaving on one day and coming back the next. We lead a lot of these trips out of the shop, so this video is put together for a lot of the folks that go on our trips, but also maybe it can help you also. So these are 16 tips, not in any particular order. Number one, I use the 10 essentials for packing, and this isn't a video about the 10 essentials, but look it up. Developed in the 30s by a Seattle Outdoors group, it's a great way to organize gear in terms of categories, making sure that you don't forget anything. Number two, this is a little overly dramatic, but cotton kills. And that just talks about the fact that using cotton as a fabric while riding and hiking and outdoorsy stuff might not be the best material because of the way that it absorbs and hangs on to water. I hope the cotton industry doesn't come after me about this. I'm wearing cotton today, but when I ride, I don't wear cotton. Number three, bring some bug spray. You're gonna need it. Depending on where you go, you're always finding out that you wish you brought it when you don't have it. And kind of similarly, number four is gonna be sunscreen. Even on days where it's a little chilly, on days where you don't feel like, oh, the sun's beating down on me, there's a lot of glare out there and you really want to protect yourself with sunscreen. Number five, something to wash your pots and pans with. That might sound a little strange, but after having dinner, cooking in your little cooking pot, you need to kind of clean that out because the next morning you're probably going to use it for oatmeal or coffee. And using water to clean out your cooking pot just isn't great because there's all kinds of food residue. So there's all kinds of biodegradable wipes and things like that that you can use to kind of clean out your pots and pans. Number six is going to be toilet paper. A similar thing, a lot of biodegradable stuff out there. And again, toilet paper is one of those things that you really, really wish you had it when you don't have it. And again, an adage always talks about, it's nice to be looking at it than looking for it. All right, so number seven is going to be a cap or a hat. And when I arrive at a micro tour, when I take my helmet off, I like to throw a cap or a hat on, and it just kind of like keeps the my thermal kind of heat with me as opposed to kind of losing it. And even when it's hot in the summer, I'll still throw a cap on when I get to camp just to kind of keep that body warmth kind of with me. Number eight is don't wait to get thirsty to drink, and this is while we're on a ride. Once you get thirsty, it usually means your body's kind of going into, I don't know what the scientific term is, but like thirst mode. But during a ride, you should be drinking constantly and not waiting until you get thirsty. Number nine is very similar. It's don't wait till you're hungry until you eat. So that's snacking on the bike, eating at rest stops, really taking every advantage you can to eat and not wait until you're hungry to eat. Number 10, let's bring a tube on the trip, right? We're not asking you to know how to change a flat tire, but we're certainly going to help. But let's bring a tube, and let's bring a tube that's the same size as the tire on your bike. Number 11, let's bring a little first aid kit. And again, not talking about splints and tourniquets and EKG machines, but we're talking about sterile gauze, first aid cream, bandages, sterile wraps, those kinds of things. A lot of the unfortunate spills that you have cycling involves kind of road rash and skin abrasion. So things along those lines to kind of clean those things out. Number 12 is Anti-Chafe Cream. And again, if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about, but getting chafing and things like that while you're riding can be unbelievably debilitating on a ride and incredibly uncomfortable. So you can get a real tiny little squirt thing of anti-chafe stuff and just throw it in your bag and kind of forget about it. Number 13 is air pressure. And that's making sure the air pressure on your tires is where it needs to be under loaded conditions when you're ready to go. So kind of, just be monitoring that and don't show up to the trip with, tires that are kind of hitting the, squishy and hitting the ground because of all the weight you've put on the bike and you didn't take that into account as you were adding air pressure. Number 14 is don't show up at a micro tour and it being the first time that you're riding your bike kind of in that condition. What I like to do is during the week, I'll get my bike loaded, I'll do some laps in the park, and just get really used to what the bike feels like when it's loaded. But again, don't let that Saturday morning when you're leaving with the group be the first time that you're dealing with your bike in a loaded condition. Number 15, kind of related, it's secure everything to your bike, and that certainly sounds intuitive. But, you know, things happen on rides, bumps, roads, ruts, curbs, rocks. So really, really do what you can to really secure your load down on your bike. Bungee cords, volet straps, other kinds of straps, paracord, all those things. Be really, really sure and kind of give your bike a lot of shakes to kind of really make sure that it's going to be secure and your load is secure. And the last thing, which is number 16, is kind of study the maps. And certainly we're not talking about, you know, poring over it night after night. But as a rider, you really have to take the responsibility to be familiar with where you're going, be familiar to be able to tell someone where you're going if you get lost. You know, we have GPS files and you can download those into your phone or GPS. But what I always tell people is imagine that your phone is dead and you're alone and you're lost. So that means hard copies. Bring hard copies of the cue sheets, bring hard copies of the maps, and bring hard copies of the contact list. So I guess number 16 is about bring hard copies. So that's all I got right now. You know, we're going on lots of micro tours this spring and summer, so hopefully these rules can apply to you if you're watching and coming on a trip. And hopefully maybe some of these ideas will help you plan your own micro adventure. Well, anyway, thanks for watching and have a great rest of the day.